remember to start the recording. Alright. Well, we are live. Alright, where's the post? I already posted an X. I think I did. Yep. Right, this is there. To update the previous Midnight Call page on DeviantArt. In the background there is some b-roll I recorded as a speed paint of me working on the current chapter that will be releasing in 2 minutes on Global Comics. The release is already scheduled, so it will go up as the stream is going. Same goes with the Patreon post with the full first issue release. So after we're done with the stream, or after that releases, whenever you want to, you can go check it out on the Patreon. It's completely free, available for everyone, the first issue. So it's the first 4 chapters compiled into one PDF file with some extra bits and bobs here and there. So, yep, that is that. Alright, so just finish this stuff. Picture is here. Right. Copy link. Paste, and alright. 1 more minute until the stream is officially started, and the time will be upon us. They start recording? I did. Alright, nice. What does it look like on the stream? They start recording? I did. Alright, nice. What does it look like? No, right. So it's 1 PM UST +1, which means it's time for the stream to start. Alright. So, hello to everyone that joined. My name is Jonathan Crimson. I'm the writer and artist behind Midnight Call, the manga that's available on Global Comics, Patreon, DeviantArt. I think those are the only platforms I currently upload to. Sometimes on X. So, I'll quickly go over what's planned for today, and then after that we'll start. So first thing in the plan is there will be a dramatic reading, let's call it that, of chapter 4. I won't be doing all of these sound effects because just no, but I will be reading the voice lines and doing some sound effects. Yeah. Secondly, there will be a Q&A session where through the last couple days I've collected questions from my patrons and other people. I'll also be including the only question I got almost 1.5 years ago during my first attempt at a Q&A on DeviantArt, because that one I did answer the person in private, but I decided that it would be okay to fit it here. And thirdly, after that we'll have an announcement. Yep. So, did I post to everywhere that I wanted to? Oh yeah, there's one more place I want to post to that there's a stream going. Alright. So, let us then begin with the reading of the chapter. What? That's interesting. Going through so much effort to cheat on your mate, Calvin. You're one slimy bastard like all of them. I'll bring you to justice for murdering those 2 officers. What can I get for you, ma'am? Oh, I'll have a single latte and a takeaway cup, please. So he took her on a tour to impress her, but a sorry individual interrupted his efforts. After a bit of walking around aimlessly, the suspect told the creature to leave them alone, which they did. Afterwards, the suspect brought his companion for some food. Since currently evening, I can assume they'll find some low-class motel later, where they will go for a one-night stand, and the suspect will dump his companion, or worse. This will be the perfect moment to apprehend him. Note, these are mostly assumptions to be modified once I have more information. Huh? Wow, who would have guessed that when I stream something, something has to go wrong? Never mind. Thank you! This is bullshit! I can't fucking believe this, you whore. How could you do this? Alexa has really forsaken you, you wench! And there's sob. I'm not sobbing to a microphone. I don't have that good of an acting skills. Hey, is that seat empty? Yeah. Can't imagine not having a cry every now and then. What happened? I think we just broke up. I don't know. It's all my fault. Don't let yourself believe that. He must just be projecting something on you. No, it's my fault. I shouldn't have told him that I worked with other males. Well, it's normal to work with other species and genders. Nothing's wrong with that. You don't understand. Hey, come on. I'm on your side. Beasts and girls have to stick together, right? I'm not... Okay. I didn't just work with them. I slept with them for money. Well, it's sad you were forced to do this, but it's not shameful. You earn money through honest work. That's what counts. The mating season just ended, so it's no guess you work there. Lots of bestian females take up this profession as a side hustle at that time. If it works for them, I'm not one to judge. Personally, I'd rather not be a slave to my instinct, though. You really don't find me gross? Yeah, come on. If you didn't have to do that, what would you do? What profession? A waitress. You came up with that just now, didn't you? No, I really want to be a waitress. Food always makes others so happy. I think it would fit my capabilities. That's a weird way of saying you'd like a job. Here's your receipt, ma'am. Bastard left you without a single sorry to your name. Here, I'll pay for you this one time. But there's one condition. Here's my number. Call me if you ever feel like you need someone to talk to, okay? Okay, thank you. Yep. So, that's the chapter. Oop. Go back. So yeah, on screen right now, before it's gone, is a discount code for, for my Patreon. 75% off for the first month. So yeah, if you are interested in learning what will be happening in the future, then I'll still upload the first arc at least until its completion for free. But yeah, we'll see in the future. And if you want to support me, then that's your way. I very much appreciate everyone that either joins for free or for the cold hard dollar. Alright. Anyways, we are back to the B-roll. And we're already on to the second part of the live stream. Wonderful. So, time for the Q&A session. I have a list of the questions that I got from, well, both free and paid members of my Patreon. So, let's quickly go over them. The first question for today, and my dog is making a ruckus in the background. The first question for today, and I'll already bundle it in with the second one because they are fairly similar. So, what do you want, dog? Oh well. So, what's gonna happen with Eve and Calvin? That's the first question, and the second one is, what is the story going to focus on? Will it be Calvin and Eve, or will there be side plots / other plots in the series? So, first part of that question, what is gonna happen with Calvin and Eve? Well, you'll just have to wait and see for the next chapter, but, dog, could you please not? The story will very much focus on Calvin and Eve. They are the protagonists of that story. Like, we have side characters like Iwatani or Kate, but while their story contributions will grow with the future chapters, maybe not exact. With Kate, yes, even in this story arc, but in the future more so with Iwatani, also with Kate. But these characters, yeah, they're here more or less to stay. As it comes to other plots, the script that I've written itself has like... It's very tight. The main thing that's going on in there is the main plot line, and there are not that many side plot lines. Like, I've started slowly incorporating a side plot line in Arc 4, which will be drawn in the future, let's call it that. But the story itself is very concise in that sense. I've left the question of whether there will be side plots and other stuff like that to my paid Patreons. Because one of the perks of being a paid Patreon is that you can suggest, and then there will be a vote on plot lines that you want to see included in, well, Midnight Call and the other future comics. So, you know, if there's something you want to see in specific, like a plotline explored or something like that, then there will be either special, like Patreon exclusive chapters that will just not be added to the main Global Comics release, or there will be just new chapters that will be added everywhere. Depends on how well they fit into the story. So yeah, that's that. Next up is a question: do I support IMC? And from what I've been told, IMC is this user's Minecraft faction. And to that my response is, I don't know. I haven't played Minecraft in 7 years, at least, when it comes to public servers. So I can answer that. Next question. How do taxes work in Crimson Punk universe? Do they also have to pay 67% of their income to the government, or are they actually competent at using funding from their netizens? So this one got me thinking, because I do actually have an answer for it, but... So in short, let me just explain something about the lore of the setting. It's not something hidden, because it's like... It's vaguely suggested, and it will be something stated outright in the future. And it's very much set in stone. The best way to describe the ruling system of the state that Calvin, Eve, and all the characters live in Midnight Call, the USOT, which is United System of the Tusor. This is a parliamentary monarchy. which is hereditary. So, semi-hereditary. It's complicated, but in essence, this is more or less an authoritarian state that has smaller substates of itself that, well, just they're essentially like states in the United States. They have their own laws and politics, but they're all part of a single federated union. And this leads to our question, which is, there is essentially no per se income tax in the setting, but the selling produce, exports, imports between planets are still taxed, and there are still income deductions in the form of, for example, health insurance, or rather providing money for a state-provided health insurance and health program. Because that's a thing, not on all planets in the setting, but at least on some of them. So I hope that answers your question. Next up, how long does it take to make one page? And that's a complicated answer to that, because the short answer is between a week and a day. The long answer is it really depends, because believe it or not, I have finished university about, well, this year, and because of that, when I was making Midnight Call, I had to grapple with university, having a job for a time, and yeah, just existence in itself. So that left me with a really complicated time schedule, and I was also figuring out the art style. I had to write out the storyline and everything, so this led us with the only 4 chapters being made in 2 years, which hopefully will speed up even in the future now that the series is in a tad bit of a hiatus for the next like half a year, but that's more because I'm not sure if I will work on this in the meantime or not. I'm not saying I won't, I just don't know how much time I will dedicate to it, so yeah. But yeah, in short, between a week and a day for a page. So, next question is, was Kate inspired in any way by Clarice Sterling from Hannibal? And the simple answer to that is, I didn't know what Hannibal is until I read this comment, so probably not. But if I were to guess where my inspiration for Kate, which is the detective character that is currently on the B-roll on screen, she's a bit of a... There were 2 archetypes, honestly, that have inspired me the most. Dog, stop biting the window. And that's... The first one is the detective archetype. Like a character that doesn't exactly like the system, but is just working to get a case done, searching for justice. And the second one is the stereotypical, archetypical even, feminist. And those 2 archetypes combined, or other stereotypes even, yep, that's essentially Kate. That's where the character came from. So there's not like one character that I think has inspired me to make the character, but yeah. And the last question, is Calvin autistic or does he just not like women? And I am not a psychiatrist. I just have a dog that really likes to eat cardboard bugs. So I'll just place it on the side so that he stops trying to eat it. Alright, so the answer to that is, I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. I have not written Calvin to be autistic. So if someone someday decides to make a hour-long analysis video about how Calvin is an autistic icon, that dog. calm down? The entire thing with Calvin is that he is written to be a... He's a very hurt character in this story arc, let's call it that. Because essentially, he is right after having a really ugly breakup. Like, the levels of "you're dead to me" are off the charts. And he just doesn't want to be reminded in any way, shape, or form of his past relationships, which comes back to the tagline of the entire series that is visible in the PDF version of the first issue, which is, it's a story of a man and a robot, one running away from his past and the other one learning what it means to be alive as the world crumples around them. Essentially, Calvin in this, at least part of the story, is running away from that. He's trying to distract himself from coming to terms with his breakup. And then stuff happens, which I won't spoil, but yeah. It all comes down to his backstory, which will be told in the next chapter, so I won't spoil too much of it, but at that point in the story, Calvin is essentially a professional soldier. And not a soldier of the planetary defense force, like the state that he lives in, which is, it has some strong independence drives at this point in time, let's call it that. But he's a soldier of the interplanetary state, so this already colors him as a sort of undesirable on the planet. And then you also add his species to that. And now you get why Calvin is, well, so jaded as a character, at least in his point of view and approach to some characters. But that's something that we'll see more of in the next chapters. Like, if I had to rate how much I like the different chapters that I have already written, I'd say that the chapters 1 through 3 are my least favorite. And chapters 4 through 8 are okay. Like, I'm waiting the most until I finish enough of the series so that I can get to the second arc. Because that's stuff where I believe that my writing got actually good. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting there. So yeah, now for the one question that I added from DeviantArt that I got way back when, and to that one is, where did Midnight Call even come from? And that's a funny story in and of itself, because Midnight Call kinda came out of nowhere. Midnight Call is a series that has just spawned. So the full origin story is like this. I had a friend that we had a falling out with, and it was pretty ugly. But the one good thing that came from that is we had this running joke where my friend would constantly complain to me about him getting very ugly fan art, in his opinion. And once I responded that if he gets another bad fan art, then I'm going to make something so bad as a fan art that he will never complain again, because nothing will be worse than this. And then it got worse, because the next fan art he got was like, I don't even remember who made it or what the name of the account was, but I remember that it was like so bad that it had to be intentional. Like, it was so perfectly, impossibly horrible. And the entire account was full of those drawings. Like, I appreciate the dedication to the artistry of how bad it was. And I just said, yeah, I'm not topping that. I'm not making something that looks worse than this. So I decided that I'm going to make just a normal fan art. Because he was definitely getting more of the I'm 12-year-olds and this character looks hot, so I'll try to draw her and then tag the original artist kind of fan art. So I decided that I'm going to make a normal fan art. And it was a very simple picture, like it was like a street in a city, and you had the character that it's like this gray furred, like gray, slightly violet, Arctic fox kind of creature with this like hooker like clothing with fishnets and everything. Um, Essentially raising Cain by the road. And it's a POV of someone that was probably dating that character and just got heartbroken by seeing her work with other people, by seeing her getting payment from a guy in a blue Subaru. Because that was when I learned how to draw vehicles, more or less. So I wanted to include my absolute all-time favorite car in the picture. So that was the idea. And then I started coloring the piece for 3 hours. And I didn't realize that it was the wrong layer. And then I scrapped the idea and left for 3 months. So afterwards, after some time, I decided to come back and try again. But this time, I decided I'm going to make the scene, depict the entire interaction in Crimson Punk, my tabletop role-playing game system setting, which I'm still working on. It's almost 5 or 6 years in the making. Soon. Trademark. But the piece came out with this like we have this the exact same character sitting at a bar and getting told to leave, and I thought that it would be funny if the character did not understand that they are told to leave, because they're not from the same universe, so why would they understand the language? So that's how the first page of Midnight Call was created. And then I thought I can't just leave it like that unfinished, so I have to draw the second page to at least like show that, yeah, she died. But then I thought of Calvin. And then the third page happened. And then after that I just said, alright, I guess I'm just making a comic now. So yeah, that's the origin of where did Midnight Call come from as a comic. So yeah, funny story that. Also, yeah, the stream is recorded, so later on, if you go down to YouTube, then the recording of the stream will be there if you missed anything. Or, you know, hello YouTube audience, if you're looking at this after the initial stream. It was originally supposed to be streamed on YouTube, but my YouTube account decided that I cannot make streams, despite the settings being turned on to allow streams. So that's a thing. So, yeah, that was the Q&A. Those were all of the questions. I am very grateful to everyone that has posted a question, to everyone that's over on Patreon, supporting me either monetarily or just emotionally by having a free subscription. Like, it all means a lot to me. And now for the last point of today's live stream. So I've been working with a friend artist of mine, Krampus, that has actually done work on he has done line art on the last 4 pages of this chapter, because I just didn't have the time. I had to color everything, I had to prepare the PDF release, so I asked him for help, because I sometimes help him, he sometimes helps me, you know. We're friends. And we're making a comic inspired by a tabletop role-playing game campaign that the setting of the campaign that I ran for some friends over on a Discord server. in, funnily enough, GURPS, which is General Use Role-Playing Game System. Which, from what I understand, was also the origin point of Fallout. But that's like a random tidbit, I might be wrong. But the story that we'll be working on is a dark fantasy revenge story that's set during essentially the transition between late antiquity and early medieval times. The scenario is essentially the fall of Rome, like the split between the Eastern and Western Empire. And you'll have all of the like classic things for me, like you have the canine species. Some would consider that furry. Many would consider that furry. But there'll also be humans. There'll be some lizard people. There are a lot of different fantasy species. The whole shebang. And the story will be told from a perspective of a tribal. So there is no previous understanding of the setting required, or just everything that is as it's being told to the character, then you also learn it. You understand it. But that's a comic that we're working on right now. It won't take over for Midnight Call because that's my main project. That's like my personal. I want to do Midnight Call and this fantasy project called Project Bloody Trails. Working name. It's essentially our joint project. We both want to make it, but it's not like my personal little pet project that is Midnight Call. And well, this project it has a very strict timetable. We're trying to have it be finished and done by the end of next year. The length of the comic will be about 70 to 100 pages, and it will be a self-contained story with potential to be turned into also like a mini-series thing. But we're going to only do that if our Patreon supporters want it. Like it really depends if the comic will be liked by people. Because we also have our own stories, like Krampus is working on his own Zootopia fan comic called Death Dealing Outfoxed, which I sometimes also help color the pages of. I'm working on Midnight Call and Crimson Punk. So we have our own projects, but we're doing this fantasy comic because, well, there's always room for more great stories, and I think we have something really cool. That will be... Yeah, there will be more updates, both on my Patreon, on their Patreon in the future, and... yeah. So that was the announcement. And... yeah, I think that's all. If there's anything anyone in the chat wants to ask, or any subject that I should say something on, check my Patreon if there's any more like questions that popped up or anything. Last minute, nope. Alright. Yeah, in that case, I would like to thank everyone for joining me on the stream. We had a peak viewer count of 4 people, which is more than I expected. I am very grateful to everyone that was here and to everyone that will be here in the future viewing the recording, because I know that about 80% of my audience for Midnight Call is American, and as far as I understand, it's sleepy time right now for the US. So if they'll see it, they'll probably watch it in the morning. So yeah, it will be up on YouTube, as I said. So yeah, thank you very much all for watching, and I'll probably see you around in between the pages and in descriptions of my pictures. Probably on another live stream once, and at the second issue of Midnight Call will be coming out sometime in the future. Yep, alright. Goodbye everyone, and thank you for watching.